Welcome to the first episode of Introduction to Electronic Music, a series made from my mobile music studio where we dive into sound, electronics, and do-it-yourself music making. Without the presumption to cover the broad range of topics surrounded by the definition of electronic music, I will begin from my personal experience with a maker approach to the subject. I hope to inspire making music with a mix of techniques and technologies. Personal feeling, knowledge, and passion are the best ingredients to start experimenting with sounds. I suggest be minimal, limiting the use of the wide range of tools available on the market to those we understand and know better. Start simple. Take the tools you already know and let's explore what you can do with them. This practical approach will make you feel capable and empowered. Of course, some theory is needed, such as understanding the basics of sound waveforms and signal processing, and better if introduced by experiments and practical examples. A good pair of headphones is essential when editing and producing electronic music. Especially when setting the sound characteristics and editing the audio tracks, during post-production, it is an indispensable tool. While headphones help with details, it's just as important to hear how your track sounds in a space, which is where amps come in. Headsets make it possible to distinguish details otherwise impossible to detect, but using just headphones isn't enough. We also need to hear how it sounds in a room. For this reason, it is important to use amplification system as well. I suggest avoiding a commercial home stereo system instead of a studio amplifier for music production due to the different kind of audio response. Personally, I like using a guitar amp since I mix electric guitar into my tracks. Still, it also works great for other sounds. Don't be too focused on a stereo studio system. When playing on stage, the sound system is mono to give the audience the same hearing experience regardless where they are positioned. For sound delivery to large spaces, it is also widely used EASE, Enhanced Acoustic Simulator for engineers. EASE helps in designing setups to ensure even sound distribution, balancing speaker stacks and adjusting delay for managing multiple speakers in large areas. Many guitar amplifier models include advanced features like the emulation of iconic amplifiers' model sound. With a USB connection, you can dial in the final stage of your sound exactly how you want it. One of the most essential tools for any music maker is a reliable laptop. From live execution to post-production and tools interfacing, a laptop can't be missed in your list. But a laptop alone isn't enough. You'll also need a solid audio interface. The current trend privileges external audio boards for several reasons. External audio interfaces are more flexible. You can switch them out without having to change anything on your computer. The same board can be used on different computers by simply plugging the board into USB. Better if the audio interface can be also used standalone when the computer is not needed. I currently use the Motu M4 audio board covering these characteristics. Still, the market offers a good range of alternatives with similar features. The key points I consider essential in choice that can be resumed in two words: connectivity and sound quality. The board should support USB-C connection compatible with the major computer DAWs. We can quantify the sound quality considering the DAC digital to analog converter capability between 48 and 96 bits. In my case, 2 stereo input-output lines or 4 mono are sufficient, but the number of channels depends on the usage planned by the producer. Here we have the Boss GT1 sound processor, my go-to for taking my guitar sound to the next level. When I first switched from classical to electric guitar, I chose this device to expand my sound without having to use a bunch of single effect pedals. Once I started using it, I realized that it does so much more than just replace the individual pedals. It's a powerful tool for sound manipulation, especially for the guitar, but it can work for any other instrument. With this sound processor and others like it, you can craft custom sounds and emulate iconic guitar tones. You can do it on the device, but it's much easier with the USB interface. One of the challenges with a tool like this is managing all the parameters together. That's where some theory comes in handy. The more you understand what each setting does, the more control you have over your final sound. It may take some time to get the hang of all the options, but once you do, the sound possibilities are endless. Looping is a feature you'll find in lots of music gear and software, and it's a game changer, especially when you are playing solo. Loopers used to be mostly for guitarists, but these days they're essential for all kinds of musicians, especially when you're playing alone. Loopers work by recording a short segment of audio and playing it back on a continuous loop. Most loopers can record between a few seconds and a minute, more or less. Still, with overdubbing you can layer multiple tracks and build your performance live. After trying out several simple loopers, I found they weren't enough for what I needed. That's when I upgraded to a more advanced device, the Roland RC500 Loop Station. It is just one of several devices in this class with similar characteristics. Before jumping into a full loop station, I recommend you start small. Many amps and sound processor and other gears have basic loop features that give you a taste of what's possible. The loop station lets me record up to 30 minutes of audio, which opens up endless creative possibilities. Whether you are laying down multiple instrument tracks or experimenting with live arrangement, the sky's the limit. When I first started exploring electronic music, I managed for about a year without a mixer, but once I get one, everything changed. Of course, this means that producing music without one is also possible. I picked up a Yamaha analog mixer to try out some experiments without relying on laptop software. Soon I realized it completely changed how I could handle multiple tracks. While a mixer may be optional when you are working solo, it's essential if you are playing with a band, allowing you to control multiple instruments and tracks in real time. Of course, the number of channels and the control features depend on the number of instruments and musicians. One feature I love about mixers is the send-receive function. This lets you apply effects like echo to different instruments in varying degrees, giving you greater control over the final sound. The downside of my Yamaha mixer, too, was the lack of a computer connection and MIDI support. That's why I eventually added a Zoom digital mixer to my setup. This digital mixer is super versatile. It can act as a laptop audio interface and make preset management easy. Perfect for setting up track parameters for a song. Plus, I can record each track separately onto an SD card, which makes it great for flexible recording and mixing options and post-productions as well. Thank you for following the first episode of the electronic music series. In the next issue, we will see some fundamentals of sound waveforms and how to modify them with a very experimental approach.